Tonight we're going to be talking about osteoporosis, and I will ask the question, how many of you do not want your bones to get brittle? Imagine that, it's unanimous, okay? So yeah, I don't either, okay? So we have a huge epidemic of osteoporosis in this country. And we have, how many of you have ever known somebody who's either broken their hip and fell or just stepped off a curb and have something break? We all know people like that. You know, let me tell you something. That does not happen to some of your hunter-gatherer tribes in Africa. They don't get stuff like that. Now, they may get cobra bites, but they don't get osteoporosis. So it is a disease of modern civilization, is a problem with Western civilization. So we want to talk about that tonight. So let's just talk about some bone basics. Bones are primarily made of collagen, which provides a framework. The strength and the hardness comes from calcium phosphate. Bones are the primary storage site for calcium in the body. Osteoclasts and osteoblasts are the two main bone cells. The clasts remove old bone, the blasts put new bone on. So it's like, let's think of it like reshingling a roof. The osteoclasts pull the old shingles off, and the osteoblasts put new shingles on. Now, if you put new shingles over the old shingles, you could do that, but you know what happens to the house after a while? The foundation crumbles because it's too heavy. Yeah. All those shingles. Okay, so this is a really important thing to understand. The bone has two layers. The outer layer is called the cortex, which is a hard part. The inner layer is cancellous, like honeycomb. Now, here's the interesting thing about bone that people don't know. Bone is considered to be an endocrine organ. It helps regulate blood sugar. Now, that's something most people don't know. So, osteocalcin, produced by cells in the bone, interacts with the beta cells of the pancreas and fat cells to improve the body's ability to handle sugar and keep fat mass low. So this is really important. So this, when you have changes in the metabolism of your bone, that can actually affect blood sugar production or blood sugar metabolism. Now, strength depends on the quantity and quality of bone tissue. Bone is influenced by a lot of things, like how fast it's turning over, collagen, your mineral availability, geometry and microarchitecture. Stressing the bone via mechanical forces increases strength and collagen cross-linking. So mechanical forces is what?
Any stress on the bone?
Yeah.
Walking
weightlifting, walking, carrying objects, push-ups, things like that. So advanced glycation end products, which comes from sugar, or really high fructose corn syrup, can accumulate in the bones, resulting in a loss of bone integrity. And bisphosphonate therapy, which is like Boniva and those types of things, is also correlated with AGE accumulation. We're going to talk about that more in a little bit. So if you look at the bone remodeling process, the osteoclasts pull away the old bone, the osteoblasts put new bone cells on. So it's this constant process of taking old bone away, putting new bone on. Aging bones. Bones age due to a variety of factors. Number one, in America and Western civilization, sedentary lifestyle. People just don't exercise, okay? Poor nutrition. The standard American diet, which is high in what two things?
Sugar and fat.
Processed fat.
Processed fat.
That's good though, Jason. Good answer. Sugar and processed fat, loss of collagen. What is a primary thing that makes collagen in bone? Anybody know the vitamin? I'll just say it's a vitamin.
If I had to guess, D.
That's not a bad guess. That's not the right answer, but that's pretty
It's
good.
vitamin K.
It's vitamin C.
Interesting.
Whole food vitamin C is what makes collagen in bones. Hormonal changes. And we have that all over the place with all the chemicals we're exposed to. Displacement of calcium into the bloodstream. So the blood maintains optimal blood levels. So when your blood levels of calcium get low, where do you think that comes out of? It comes out of bone.
Mm-hmm.
So why would calcium blood levels be low?
Too much sugar. Too much.
That's a good answer. Yeah, too much sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar causes acidifies the body. The calcium neutralizes that acid. That's fun. That's really kind of a funny answer, Jason. It's like sugar's the answer to all of my questions. Just throw out sugar, really. But that was actually the right answer. That was pretty good. Okay, calcium and phosphorus have to be maintained in a very specific balance. Too much phosphorus in the diet, calcium being pulled from the bones into the blood. Where do you get phosphorus? Soft drinks. Phosphoric acid. Bad news. These things are bad news. Osteopenia and osteoporosis are normal aspects of the aging process. This is not a disease, okay? As we get older, guess what? We get wrinkles, okay? We tend to lose our hair. Bones thin out. It's a process of aging. The thing is can we age in a way that's healthy? Now these conditions are treated like diseases to sell drugs.
Yeah.
Now, if the bones get too brittle, that's not good, okay? We're going to show you why and how that happens. But aging is a normal process, you know. Do I like it? Heck no. I'd rather go back to 39 or 35 again if I had my choice, but it's just the way it is. So we can age in a way that's healthy. So let's talk about osteoporosis. Silent, systemic. Body loses either loses too much bone or makes too little bone. Could be both. Causes thinning, makes bones fragile. It doesn't show up until there's about a 50% bone loss. Becomes more porous. Risk of fracture. About 1 in 2 women over 50 years of age will have osteoporotic fracture. 1 in 4 men. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, osteoporosis risk factors. Menopause or early menopause, and it's a lot higher in white and Asian women. Black and Hispanic women don't have as much osteoporosis. Diabetes, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Heavy drinkers, smokers, sedentary lifestyles, some medications, we'll talk about that in a little bit, they actually encourage the osteoporosis process. Steroid hormone therapy, which is what? What's a steroid hormone?
Prednisone.
Yeah, good. Prednisone. Yeah. Low body weight, like really, really, really thin women tend to get osteoporosis easily. Previous fractures or family history. Now, here's some drugs that will reduce mineral density. Steroids, breast cancer drugs, prostate cancer drugs, heartburn drugs. Like, what's a heartburn drug?
Prilosec.
Prilosec. Why does Prilosec cause osteoporosis? How's that work?
It decreases your absorption of calcium because of the lowered stomach acid.
Exactly. That's exactly the right answer. Yeah. Depo-Provera, which is a birth control pill. Anti-seizure, mood-altering drugs. Diuretics, which force minerals out of the body. And good old acetaminophen. So people that take a lot of aspirin, acetaminophen, they are contributing to osteoporosis. Estrogen. Estrogen keeps bones strong, maintains collagen. We know that at menopause, estrogen levels decrease. Once you hit menopause, you can lose 25% of your bone within 10 years. If bone health is not optimal before menopause, women have a greater risk of developing osteoporosis. So here's the thing. When you see these teenage girls walking around drinking soda, what are they doing to themselves?
Taking out their bones.
Right. What they're doing is they're basically giving themselves early osteoporosis once they hit menopause. That's what they're doing. They're setting themselves up for a disease, for a process later on that they don't want. Testing options. So how do we test? How do we figure this out? I'll tell you my favorite test of all of these up here, this one right here, the Bone Health Panel. It tells me a lot about their hormones. It tells me how fast they're losing bone. And this is the best one. Now, there's some other ones that I really, really like too. Vitamin D and 125 calcitrol. I don't do this, the 125 calcitrol very much. Ionized calcium's good because calcium has to be ionized to be used by the body. Also has to be ionized to be used by the immune system. These test HSCRP, which tests for inflammation, the blood sugar tests, and so nutrient and toxic elements, great because it shows you what the mineral status of the patient is. So there's a lot of good things, but this is my favorite one right here. This gives me the most direct information as to what's going on with the patient's bone health. So this is the Paralymps Bone Health Panel. So if we look at what it tests, the Paralymps D tests for how much bone is being turned over or how fast you're losing bone. You do not want it elevated. Okay, so this is 8.8. 8.8 is elevated, so this individual is losing bone pretty fast, faster than they should. These are hormones, so DHEA, so a depressed DHEA usually means adrenal stress, okay? Now, if you go down here to cortisol, the morning cortisol is elevated, so there's some adrenal stress going on, okay? Estradiol, postmenopausal is normal, 1 to 4. It's a little low. Progesterone is 5 to 95. Again, low normal. It's in the low normal range. So this person, if we had something to help elevate that, one of the things would be tribulus, which we can't get right now, which would help with that. Free testosterone. Testosterone is very important for bone health. This is a 12, so normal is 10 to 38. So that's a pretty good testosterone right there. Testosterone in men is what gives us the big, strong bones. And then again, the cortisol levels, this tells me a lot about adrenal function as well as this. So this person's got stressed adrenals. So we need to help their adrenals, which will actually help elevate estradiol and progesterone. Okay, so that's what I would do with them. I would really help get their adrenal glands strong and then retest in about 3 or 4 months. Okay, DEXA scan issues. Okay, it tests only for mineral density, not quality or strength of bone. Okay, these are two separate things. Bone density indicates capacity to resist breaking when being crushed by a static weight. Bone strength is the capacity to resist breaking when being pulled or stretched. So let's look at something with high density, glass. Glass has high density and compressive strength, but is extremely brittle and lacks tensile strength. Okay? Wood is strong and dense, yet can bend and stretch with external forces. Spiderweb has strength, but no density. In fact, spiderweb is stronger is way stronger than steel. You know, given for the amount there is. It's interesting. So just because you get a good DEXA scan after you've been taking drugs, doesn't mean your bones are strong. They could be even more brittle. So here we go. The peak female bone mass is right about 38-ish, right in there. And then after that, they begin to lose bone. Okay? Bone density in breast cancer. Here's a little known fact. Higher than normal bone density in middle-aged women increases risk of breast cancer by 200 to 300%. Now, this isn't higher than normal bone density due to middle-aged women who are taking care of themselves. It's due to middle-aged women who are taking pharmaceuticals. When you elevate bone density artificially, you increase your breast cancer rate. This is a reference to PubMed, where that study is. This is never discussed, and it goes completely against, modern breast cancer awareness and osteoporosis guidelines. So the solutions are drugs, surgery, or radiation. Losing bone mineral density is a normal part of aging. We just want to make that healthy. Okay? So what are some strategies to increase bone density? In medicine, it's bisphosphonates, which again increase the density, but they don't increase the strength of the bone. So that's Fosamax, Boniva, a whole slew of them. Okay, how do they work? Well, their goal is to improve the DEXA scan, and I've heard practitioners say that the DEXA scan is really a device to sell pharmaceuticals more than anything else. They inhibit osteoclasts from breaking down old bone. So you're putting new shingles on old shingles, basically, is what you're doing. New bone cannot be formed by osteoblasts if the old bone remains. So bone matrix appears more dense, but it's weaker and more brittle. 94% of women taking bisphosphonates for greater than 5 years had femoral head fractures. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. So here's all the side effects of bisphosphonates. Blood clotting disorders, irritability, AFib, jaw degeneration, heartburn. I mean, you'd want all this. Severe constipation. These are all bisphosphonate side. Loss of vision, blurred vision. It's crazy. So what are some things we can do to help us have healthy bones as we age? First of all, we need to exercise, get the right nutrients. Refined foods are missing bone building nutrients. So if you're eating a lot of white flour, white rice, just refined anything, breakfast cereals, really highly refined. I mean, you're not getting nutrients you need for healthy bones. Sex hormones play a key role. And so what takes over when your sex organs stop producing hormones, and when your sex hormones start dropping, like due to menopause or even male menopause, what takes over? What organ in the body takes over for that? I already mentioned it once.
Adrenal glands?
Adrenal glands. So you want to keep your adrenal glands strong. Okay? So, some dietary recommendations. Nettle tea provides minerals and silica. So nettle tea is good. Now just as an aside, I've never had nettle tea. Okay, I don't. Rose hips tea, minerals in silica with vitamin C. I eat a lot of vegetables. Asparagus, cucumbers, and artichokes provide minerals. So do nuts. Nuts are high in minerals. Raw dairy gives you a form of phosphatase, which your body needs to absorb the calcium in. And so once you pasteurize dairy, the calcium in that milk is not very usable at all. So Mediterranean diet has been shown to improve outcomes. High calcium foods, green leafy vegetables, almonds, cashews, and walnuts, sesame seeds are high calcium foods. Hard water, which we pretty much have here, has usable calcium. Increasing your consumption of phytonutrient-rich foods, which is what? What are phytonutrient-rich foods?
Non-refined, without sugar.
Yeah, how about fruits and vegetables?
Fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, like blueberries would be high in phytonutrients. Now, here's the good news for women. Okay, I can't believe there weren't more women here tonight. Red grapes, dark chocolate,
Woohoo!
and blueberries are a source of resveratrol, which increases bone alkaline phosphatase. Okay? Now, let's talk about phosphatase. It's an enzyme found in 3 important foods: bones, raw dairy, and unprocessed grains. So, it's an enzyme that extracts calcium from food and vitamins to incorporate it into bones. Pasteurized dairy and processed grains have no phosphatase. Now, if you look at the standard processed products that are high in phosphatase, Prostex for prostate for men, Ovex, and Bios contains everything needed to support bone health. So, what are the lifestyle recommendations that we have for osteoporosis? You need to sleep, adequate sleep. Why is sleep important?
You get your rest, you recharge.
That's true. Okay. So you don't sleep, what happens?
Things are off.
Cortisol levels go up.
Yeah.
It screws up all your hormones. Everything is off. And when your hormones are messed up, that's when your bone, and because bones are considered an endocrine organ, which helps regulate blood sugar. When you don't sleep and your blood sugar is off, then that will really alter bone physiology. Smoking and alcohol, not good for bone health. Light walking 4 hours a week has been shown to significantly reduce hip fractures. Weight or balance training is important. Whole body vibration has been shown to be really, really good. And strengthen bones when you're young to have more available when you're older. Mm-hmm. So when you're younger, these people, these kids that are, lifting weights in college and when they're young are really sowing the seeds for good bone health when they're older. Okay, which is why I'm really, when I was in college in the 70s, weightlifting was not a big thing. It just wasn't a thing then. Neither exercise wasn't a real thing. Joe Namath used to smoke cigarettes, and he was a highly paid quarterback for the New York Jets. That's how crazy things were back then. And so it wasn't until I got to chiropractic school that I started doing weightlifting and things like that it actually got on my radar. So I started lifting weights in my mid to late 20s is when I started really exercising. So herbal and nutritional support, protein breakdown in the gut, really important. So we use Zypan and Digest Forte. Ionized calcium, so calcium lactate, very ionizable. The most ionizable calcium that there is calcium lactate. That's why we use it in our office. Magnesium lactate the same way. Targeted hormonal or herbal support, bone complex contains natural estrogen. We use that. If you want to use a product that's just great bones and we're keeping your bones healthy. Bone complex is it. Hormone-specific support, wild yam complex, adrenal support for women, black cohosh for men, rhodiola ginseng. I've had really good results with this with men. Tribulus is really good for both men and women, and Simplex M, Simplex F. Vitamin C guides remineralization of the bone, prevents excessive osteoclastic activity, stimulates the growth of osteoblasts, essential in collagen synthesis. So vitamin C, Cataplex C, really, really big deal when it comes to bone health. Without vitamin C, D, and K, bone matrix is unable to incorporate calcium. Okay, so that's all I have. Yes.
There's a question on here from somebody watching. What is whole body vibration?
Whole body vibration are those vibration plates that vibrate when you stand on them, and that really helps strengthen bones and joints in a very powerful way. So when you exercise on those, it actually builds muscle faster, and that vibration in the bone stimulates bone growth.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yeah, on collagen. What is collagen exactly, and what does it really do with the bones? And vitamin C is just helping build it.
Collagen is the matrix, the bone matrix in the middle, that that's calcium deposits, where the minerals deposit into the collagen matrix to help bones get strong. So if we don't have collagen, there's no place for to hold the minerals. So the vitamin C is really important, that process of building collagen.
Okay.
And collagen is really important for connective tissue as well, which vitamin C is also involved in that. Yeah, it's really important. So if you know, and you probably know some people that have osteoporosis, we can test for it. We can figure out what's going on with them and give them the right nutrients to help them get back on the way to health. So good. That's all I have. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you guys.